Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome to After the Credits number 66.
The time has come. Execute Order 66.
Hope everyone's having a good one. You can thank Taz for that little
Yes.
clip that was just shown. How's
I
everyone
thought it was
doing
only
today?
fitting. I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Not feeling murderous against the Jedi. How are you?
Good. Even after all that Dexter and all that stuff?
Yeah, and Lucifer season 2 has gotten kind of crazy. I'm
Good.
really enjoying that now too.
Absolutely.
How
How's
has
it going?
Joe
Oh,
Goldberg been?
Joe Goldberg, man, he's a tricky little guy. I don't know. Yeah, no, I just finished season one last night. I was like, all right, let me wrap it up before I can talk about it on here tomorrow. Um, no, season one's fun. Season one's fun. Like I'll be honest, I wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be. Like
Mhm.
I don't know. Like I feel like I had this um I thought season one was going to be like a legendary season of TV, just the way
Yeah.
people talked about it, right? I thought we were talking like like a Breaking Bad, like a like on that kind of level in terms of like like season one is that good and then it falls off later. And well, it's like okay, season one was like a B for me. It was like a pretty
Mhm.
good season of TV, and I'm curious how I feel about the following seasons because I do hear it falls off after the season one point. So
It's interesting, right? So I kind of felt like season 1 was like amazing when I first watched
okay,
it, but I recently did a rewatch and I didn't like season 1 quite as much as I originally did. Not that I
okay,
didn't like it, but kind of in the same boat as you. Like kind of felt like a B-ish for me. But I would say
sure.
probably season 1 and 4 are still my favorites. Season 1
One
and
and
4 are my
four,
favorites.
interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I'm curious, just based on the first two, like if I'm comparing season one and the first two, season two and the first two, I think I'm enjoying season two more than season one,
Season
but
2
just
is
based on the
really
two.
good. Season 2 is really good. Like it's tough. It's tough, man.
I like
I'd
the
have to
like
go back and
LA
rank.
vibe that's going on. Like
It's
I'm
cool.
really liking it. Like and also the cast. Like there's a cast I recognize a little bit because you have
Hmm.
Jenna Ortega just pops in. I was like, oh, holy shit, it's a young Jenna Ortega. And
Yeah.
then you have the Penguin from Gotham is in
Yes.
this season.
Yes.
It's like,
Absolutely love
okay.
Robin Lord Taylor in this.
Yeah. How about you, Darth? How's it going, buddy? I kind of just ignored you there for the first 4 minutes, but
No,
how's
no,
it
no. You
going?
crack on. You crack on. I'm doing good. I'm always here, happy to be a part of the fight.
Absolutely. Have you watched anything fun this week, Darth, that you want to share?
Just about South Park, really. I've mainly
Oh,
been playing Black Ops and Mortal Kombat. The T1000's
Ooh.
out. Um, and honestly, as much as like Omni-Man is just a disgustingly OP character, so is the T1000. Like you can do bits with him. He has every available asset. Like he can do distance. He can like go up close. He's got this Terminator march where he just goes forward and then can just eat a whole hit. So they have to come in with a combo to get you, or you can grab him. It's sick.
amazing. Amazing. How's already kind of mentioned it, but how was the first season of Lucifer for you, Taz?
I actually really enjoyed it. Like I didn't like sit there and binge it quite as much as I did with Dexter, but watching it kind of in passing, it was really fun. Again, it wasn't necessarily the show that I thought it was going to be. And the fact that it gets kind of deep and like there's like that moral dilemma of like, yeah, he's the devil, but is he really that bad of a guy kind of thing? Like I think that
Sure.
that's kind of cool. And then, season 2, like I said, I kind what am I at? Like see episode 6 or something like that. It's been fun. It's been fun. I'm interested though to see how the story plays out since this is a longer season, I believe, right? This is like a 26 episode season versus a 13. So I'm wondering how that pacing is going to go, or if we're going to have like all right, kind of the first half of the season is one big plot line, and then the second half of the season is
Mm,
something else. But I'm really loving it. I think, this is just a show that's been around for a while, and
sure.
once again, I'm very upset at myself for never sitting down and actually watching it. Again, I've seen clips and stuff, but I'm glad that I'm actually in the midst and very much so enjoying it.
It's
Gotcha.
interesting as well. Like not to get like too deep or anything here, but um, like you have the Bible the way it is and stuff, and then like talking about the end of times or whatever. And
Mm,
we're in a time where it is a prevalent idea to have sympathy for the devil.
sure, sure. That's actually true. Taz, you're watching 2 shows revolving the devil, which is kind of crazy.
Oh yeah, the Devil of Hell's Kitchen and the literal devil.
Like I remember, not to dive too much into this because I know no one cares about this, but like I do remember like I started that show back when I was still in church, and that was such a weird dilemma for me at the time, like in middle school, being like, I'm like, we're in church and they're like, cast out the demons, cast out the devil, and also it's like I'm going home to watch Lucifer when I get home from that, which was always a very funny.
Can't wait to see the devil. I hope he shows his good face.
Yeah, he's super cool. He owns this nightclub. Like,
Yeah. Let me read the chat really quickly because we got a lot of comments. Taz is here. Hello.
who's that?
In Comfort of Strangers here. Hello, hello, hello.
My one and only. Woo.
Keyblade says Order 66 is here. It absolutely is, but we're not going to be.
Order 66.
We won't be killing no kids today, though. We'll leave that to the.
Leave that to
them.
Anakin. Leave that to Anakin.
Punisher time. Buddy's Big Screen. How's it going, my friend? I've been hanging over on his streams this last week. Go check out his channel. Absolutely.
Oh, that's awesome.
Absolutely. You mean the Netflix show? It's good. I assume you're talking about. I don't know if you're talking about you or Lucifer, but both were on.
Both
Netflix,
of them are
I
good.
guess.
Yeah.
Buddy says, I remember having to explain to my grandma how it was okay to watch Lucifer in her house. He's actually super good, Grandma. Actually,
He's actually
nice
just
guy.
a chill. He's just a chill guy. He's just solving crimes and punishing those who deserve it, like somebody else that we got to meet this week. Once again.
Yeah, absolutely. I also just want to give a shout out because I haven't been talking about it on this show, but it's been my favorite show I've been watching week to week. Severance wrapped up its season 2 finale this week, which I think...
Oh, I'm dying to start that.
Oh, dude. Season 3, I would love to talk to you about it, Darth. It's so good. It is... I am ready to give it the best show on TV card at the moment. I'm ready to give it.
That's on what, Apple?
Apple TV.
High praise. High praise.
Okay.
I'm very ready to start it.
I think it's
like a week and a half.
Yeah, no, I think it's like this generation's Lost in terms of like its like generational pool and it's like how it's telling the mystery and stuff like that. And the finale is like they just casually dropped an hour and 20-minute finale this week, and it's like, man, they really know how to treat us well. It's something really, really special. And it is a show I hope that we can someday cover on here. But no, it's been great.
Isn't what's his name? Joe's buddy from season 1. He's in Severance, right? Yeah.
Yep. It's the same guy from
the
the same Spider-Man guy that's like, do a flip.
Oh yeah,
Spider-Man!
right. Yeah, he's in like a bunch of stuff. I saw you post something recently. It's like this guy's like everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, and he's in Fallout. He's in Fallout.
Fallout too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you imagine he takes the record from the other guy in the 2000s? That was just everywhere.
Yeah, I would like to see him in like more like MCU stuff. Like I think it'd be fun. Honestly, make him your new like Stan Lee, where he just pops
like,
up
shows up everywhere.
Yeah, because he's now in 3. He's in Homecoming. He's in Shang-Chi, and he's in Friendly Neighborhood. So.
Oh yeah, right. He was in Friendly Neighborhood. Yeah, that's
Absolutely.
Crazy. That's crazy.
But yeah, we're gonna jump into today's episode. We're gonna be talking about the penultimate episode of Reacher. Kind of crazy. We're at the end of the season already. It feels like we just kind of started it. But again, that's like the whole Invincible thing. When you drop 3 episodes at once, the season goes super fast.
Wait, the whole what thing?
The whole thing.
Are you sure?
Yes. So the penultimate Reacher, Darth, man, this has been an interesting journey for sure. I feel like we have both simultaneously really enjoyed the season while also having our grand amount of like nitpicks and problems with it. Now that we only have 1 episode left, how are you feeling? How did this episode fix anything for you? Are you liking it even more? How are you feeling?
Honestly, it had me. Um, this episode had me rolling my eyes so much.
Okay.
If I'm honest with you, um, just I understand it's like it's from a book, right? So a lot of their lines are gonna be from the book and stuff. So that like there's a lot of like leeway we have to give the
Sure.
show, right? But it is becoming incredibly more cookie cutter by the episode, right?
Yeah.
The amount of tropes that were just thrown at us
Yeah.
the from the go fuck yourself ATF guys, right? To
Sure.
the once a season banging of Reacher and a female
Yeah.
agent or a female of some description, right? Um, the whole it's not this location, it's this location. It's been a setup. We gotta go, 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 go. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
Like all of it, all of it, all of it was just crazy, you know? And I don't know. I don't know. I honestly still feel season one was the best.
I agree.
I think they like, and I'm one of those Flash fans now where I'm like they just need to go back to the start, you know, go back to what they know, and try and regain the magic that they had because they've lost it. They've lost it. They've lost it. I don't know. Like they're relying on Alan Richson's charm,
Sure.
and like he has it. He's got charisma for days, right? I'm not saying he hasn't. He's holding the show, right? But you need the everybody that you had before. Do you know what I mean you need everybody to be a draw, as you said, right?
Sure.
And again, no shade to the actors, right? But the guy that's playing the old man, Villanueva, right? Um, I've been waiting for him to get popped since he actually got popped, right? Um, cannot stand the female lead. Like the amount of times that I've heard Teresa out of her mouth, I'm ready to strangle her myself, right? The not McCabe slash Quinn, Beck.
Sure.
He was incredible this season, right? This episode, sorry, he was incredible this episode, and it was the only real slash amazing moment that he's had in the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like Reacher, went on some like kind of villain arc where he's going like Mark in a blue suit, and he's just like, "I'm not out here for justice. I want vengeance."
That,
You know?
okay, yeah. That is the thing. Like, I felt so rewarding from our conversations last week, where it's like, he's just a Punisher, and people on Twitter is like, no, he's not. This episode, like you said, he literally said, I don't want justice, I want vengeance. I was like, that's the Punisher. That is a vigilante. That is not a good guy, right? And
No.
and you know what? I'm kind of a little bit here for it now, though, because at least they've committed to it, right? Like, at least they're like, as Taz would say, it feels like Reacher's in his like black suit Spider-Man era, where he's like, I don't care, I'm just gonna kill him. I'll be on the run for like the rest of my life. And I was like, you know what? At least they've committed to it, and they're making it seemingly like an arc for Reacher to go on. And I'm more of a fan of that than them blindly justifying his actions. You know what I mean? Like, characters are finally calling him out on his bullshit, being like, don't do that, actually. You'll be a criminal. Don't do that, right? So at least it's more justified. Sorry, not Taz. Buddy asks, haven't started Reacher, is it worth watching? Do you think Buddy should start Reacher, Darth?
Okay, so because I didn't want to talk over you, I was just replying to him in the chat.
Gotcha.
So, so yeah, no. Again, like, if I was rating the seasons, and we're on the penultimate, so I would say season one phenomenal. I say not even phenomenal; it was really good. It still had its problems. Do you know what I mean? But season 2 and 3 are basically just fighting for the lowest position at this point, in my
really?
opinion.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. So I would say it has lost its steam, but I'm not so against the show to say that it can't ever get it back, because
Yeah.
one of the advantages of this show is kind of how anthological it is, or how you want to say it. I mean, like, it's an anthology series that
Yes.
doesn't fully serialize itself. It's just based on one man's, um, you know, kung fu adventures through towns. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's all it is. So it could easily pick it straight back up.
Hmm.
Do you know what I mean? This is
Yeah.
why I keep coming back each season, right? Because season 2 was a wash. Let's be real, right? It was a wash,
Yeah.
right? Um, don't know what happened to it. They had something magical. They decided to run away from what they had instead of working with it. And I understand that goes against the character of Reacher because he's supposed to be like a nomad. You know what I mean? I
Right.
get that. But I don't know. I don't know. Just give us like inherent stakes for the season that can escalate. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
So
Like they're doing now.
Go ahead, Taz.
so I want to ask this question because of that vengeance, not justice quote. I saw that clip and a lot of people
Oh,
were
wow.
using it as an example of like, oh, he should be Batman.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
What do we think about
Like
that?
with
I know
it.
he's been like the very popular choice as of late, and I'm just still not sold. Like I think
Genuinely too.
I think I almost want a more unknown actor at this point. Like I feel like he's
100%.
become so popular now because of this show and tons of other things that he's been in, and I still see him as Hawk from Titans. Like I don't know. I don't know if I'd
He actually has a
love
comic
to.
book Batman physique though.
Yeah, he does. He
I think
does.
look-wise is all I kind of have with them. Like, I see that man. Like, you put that man in a bat suit, that looks like the giant physique that a Batman would
Yeah,
have.
yeah. I mean, he does. He looks on par, if not bigger, than Ben Affleck in BVS.
Sure.
But Ben Affleck was pretty freaking big too.
Right,
So,
but this is the thing though. But you also like this is the thing, right? Okay. I like the guy is a handsome, charismatic guy, right? So
mhm,
I believe like him being Bruce Wayne, like people fawning all over him rather than I do um with Creature Commandos and Frank Grillo. Do you know what I mean? Like one's more
mhm,
believable than the other, right?
yeah,
And then because of the whole like Mountain State or Blue State or whatever he was in, like and other stuff that he's done, he can do comedy slash the um kind of charming dickhead that like Bruce
mhm.
Wayne is. Do you know what I
It,
mean? I
it's
think he could do that quite well.
it's interesting because from what I've seen, he almost seems very similar. Like he would be similar to the Ben Affleck Batman. And I know people
Hmm.
had their problems with that version of the character. Like I feel like there's a happy medium, right? Between like massive, crazy Ben Affleck Batman and then like the kind of I wouldn't necessarily say smaller stature, but the Pattinson Batman that we have,
Sure.
right? He's more so on the detective side of things. He isn't quite as physically imposing. Yes, he's threatening. Yes, he is, can, Batman Arkham it up whenever he needs to. But I think that there's a middle ground in there that we can get to, and I don't have really an actor in mind. Like I feel like I'm pretty decent with like having an idea. I don't really fan cast a ton, but I
Yeah.
can have some ideas, and just I don't know where I am as far as Batman goes. And like when they cast Robert Pattinson, he was not on my short list at all, but I was pleasantly surprised and I loved the take on the character. Same thing when Ben Affleck was cast. I think I kind of want to be surprised and
Mm,
I want them to make a choice that I'm like, huh, really? I didn't think that they'd go with
sure.
that. I think this is such an obvious choice that I don't necessarily want them to make that choice.
Yeah, it's tough because could he do it? Absolutely.
Yeah,
He could probably do a great
100%.
job.
Yeah.
There's also that bit of me though where it's like I feel like if you saw Ben Affleck in like a business suit, I'd be looking at him and be like, he's the same size as Batman. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like there's not a lot of disguising it. Like, there's not going to be a lot of people that has the same build as Batman, and Alan
Yeah.
Richardson is one of those guys.
Yeah.
I've been saying since like they launched a DCU, I think it'd be hilarious if he came back as Aquaman, because I think he looks even more like Aquaman now than he did in Smallville. I think
Yeah.
I'd
That would
love
that would actually be fun. I
But
think
let's
that
remember, as
that would be cool.
like, yeah, sorry, it's just that like Batman is as well just shy off like peak physical human fitness. Like he's
It's
nigh
true.
on like a superhuman specimen. Do you know what I mean? Like that's the reason he's able to like prowl the streets and like have the endurance he does and train for years as a kung fu in this and every martial arts and like he's not gonna be out here um looking like Christian Bale in The Machinist or something. Do you know what I mean? Like he's
Sure.
gonna be beefing up and everything else. So like a big physique it would make sense. I mean, because
It's
like
fair. Fair. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, there's there's a difference between in shape, practical size and strength, and training to be a just big brooding like bodybuilder, and that would be, that's why there's a difference between Batman and Bane, right? Like I think you have to almost go to the practicality side of things too, right? Is you get too big and your mobility goes down, your, range of motion goes down, and I wouldn't expect how tall is he? Probably like 6'4", 250-pound Batman to be jumping from rooftops. He'd need a very, very strong grappling gun. Like I think there's a fine line, right?
yeah, but then okay, this is what I was going to say before. Is like I know there's a suspension of disbelief, right?
Yeah.
But there are some iterations of Batman that are more believable fighting supervillains than others.
Right, 100%, 100%. It's weird though. I feel like my favorite Batman,
even
builds,
animated.
Yeah, it's got to be the Arkham style of Batman, right? So he's big, but he's got a little bit of an armored suit to him. You know what I will say? He does physique-wise seem similar to how he was done in Arkham Origins. He was a little bit bigger in Arkham Origins than, say, City and Night and Asylum. So again, it's
and if you put him next to normal human beings in that game, he is like twice the size.
Oh yeah, 100%. He is 100%.
Yeah.
But I think also too, would you like them to do a Batman that's bigger and more physically imposing than Superman, or do you want him to?
No, I want them both jacked.
Right. No, obviously, but like, who do you want to be bigger? I think it's an interesting idea when Batman's like just a little bit bigger than Superman sometimes.
That's interesting.
But also, you'll see the other side of it where Superman's a little bit bigger. I think they did the Batman was slightly taller than Superman in BVS, and that was also an element that I really liked in Superman and Lois, that Lex was taller and more physically imposing than Clark was.
Yeah.
Which I thought was a very cool angle.
Well, I think that works though too, because like his strength doesn't come inherently from his muscles or working out,
exactly.
Right? So, like Superman could be like a skinny little boy, and it's like, yeah, it's fine. He's still 10 times stronger than Batman will ever be. So Bruce has to like overcompensate to like overdo it and be like, all right, I'm going to be as big as I possibly can because I'm training every day and I'm out fighting every day. Like I think that aspect of it makes sense. But also like there is something really fun about when we covered that Superman casting, Taz, there was something really exciting about like, I don't know who this guy is, but I'm excited to learn,
exactly.
you know?
Exactly. And I think that they should do that for our Batman as well and have us grow to love this actor or this, Anyway, back to your Reacher talk. I'm sorry. I just wanted to put some input in there because I haven't seen Reacher.
You know what, no, Taz? Because like that conversation is probably more interesting than anything we would get into. Not that I dislike the episode, because I did quite enjoy it, and again, like I think Reacher kind of is that show for me. Where it's like
zero morals.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, fair.
Because like Neely, with the guy, like, oh, I'm just gonna shoot you in front of children, you know, like blah blah blah, giving me the information I need. Uh,
Yeah.
and and then like just still pistol whips him on the way out. And then you got Reacher like threatening a guy, fully extorting him. And then he's like, hang on a minute, this is extortion. And then it's like, you're getting it. You're finally understanding. It's like, dude, you should be bragging about this. This isn't like I'm committing several felonies with the the cloak of justice around me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's crazy. It's crazy.
I think
Oh,
I don't know. Like, I think Beck, and I know you might disagree. I think Beck might be my favorite character this season. I really enjoyed his little arc of like trying to get out of this pit that he's in. He had a fantastic scene this episode when he's talking with his son, and he's like, I purposely tried to get you to hate me because I thought that would be easier for you to get over me when I die. I was like, oh, as like you're like clearly wrong, right? Like obviously that doesn't make sense, but I honestly get why you're trying to do this. Like I saw how miserable you were losing your mother, and I thought if I was a piece of shit to you, you could deal with my death better. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's very interesting. I'm really liking that. That scene when they're like, he's like giving the gun to his dad. I was like, you know what? I kind of love this guy. I'm really liking what we're doing here. I'm very certain he's gonna die next episode. Very certain they're gonna kill him off. I would be flabbergasted if they don't do that because that, like, obviously, he had his things either I'm dead or I'm going to jail for life, and I don't know if they're gonna send him to jail for life. I don't know if that's where they're going with this, but how about you? Do you think they're gonna kill him?
oh yeah, absolutely. I don't see any way that he goes to jail because there's like a whole bunch of people. Like he's a rat now. I mean, so either way, he's out. Um, my question is do you see any way that Villanueva and I forget her name, so I'm just going to call her Teresa Lover, um, like that they don't get any kind of justice and they don't get sanctioned or arrested or fired, or do you think they get a commendation at the end of this? Is what I'm asking, and if so, are you going to join me in the hate campaign for it?
They should. They absolutely should have consequences, if not fired, like demoted or unpaid suspension or something for sure. Like they've definitely, and I'm shocked they haven't arrested Reacher as well because he's coming the way of a police investigation time and time again this season. Um, I think it's going to be like honestly, like I think we talked about this last week where I said sometimes I think the theories that we give and the things we want the show to do is always so much better than what the show goes for. And it's like, oh, they could do this and this and this, and it's always the most cookie cutter thing that they
Yep.
do. So I think they're coming in like, you were right, you solved this case, you're getting a promotion or whatever, and be like, okay.
Oh no, because that's gonna be real 50-50 on me coming back for season 4, right? They can't do that, especially like my whole thing is in the meeting with the ATF, right? Um, how much of this quote unquote investigation did they talk about, right? Because if they talked about any of the characters that were in it, do you know what I mean? Like Angel, and any of the lackeys, like the guy on the boat, like you surely any competent investigator would have while they have them at the table and go, okay, so where are these people? Where is Angel Dust? Where is um Tobacco Man on the boat? Like where is such and such? And then Reacher is gonna sit there with his thumbs in his ass and have nothing to say because he's out here murdering people and stuffing them in boots.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like how is they have to have been lying through their ass during that like handoff of the investigation, and they would have to have been going, oh right, so there's only been 3 people that have been involved this whole time because those are the ones we haven't killed, right? So
Yeah.
there's 3 guys. There's Terry, Steve, and Michael, right? Forget Angel Dust, forget Tobacco Man. Do you know what I mean? We just don't. They weren't here. I don't know where they were. They're on holiday. You know what I mean? It's just crazy. It's just so stupid. Oh my god! The more I think about the show, the more it winds me up.
How would you feel if Buffy dies saving Teresa?
grateful.
You really hate it. I mean, I would definitely respect it. I would, because like that's definitely not on how I would predict it would happen, right? Like it's like it. I would respect them taking a bit of a risk. Not that it's really a risk because she wasn't coming back for season 4 anyway, right? Like they're get a new love interest for season 4, and that's
Okay.
another thing. Like,
It's not a risk though because they did the same thing in season 2 with the
yeah,
bald guy, except he just banged this one.
you're right. And I feel like it's going to be impossible for me to give a shit about any love interest going forward, right? Because now they've set a thing in motion where it's like Reacher, starts working with a female character. There's like a will they, won't they kiss. They're like, we love each other, and then he leaves them anyway, right? This will be the 3rd season in a row this happens, which I get that's the template of the books. But at the same time, I don't think I can get invested in another one. Not that I was invested in this one, right? But like, I don't know. Like I don't know how far this template can work until we're like, I don't care anymore.
I'm already there with the love interest.
That's fair.
As for everything else, I'm not quite tapped out yet. Again, like the charm of Adam
Still very
Richardson,
fun. Yeah.
is great, and especially when he's just pounding on bullies. Like this is another reason that he could be Batman. You know,
Sure.
because he's great at bully busting. You know what I mean? Like that's Batman's whole deal. You know, so I don't know. I mean, I'm coming back for season 4, but I'm not gonna be happy
Sure.
about it. I don't know.
Yeah, like I think like even season 2 for me, where it's like I didn't love season 2, but I think like at its core it was still overall fun for me. Like it's one of those shows where if you shut your brain off for a bit, you can still have fun. It's a very dad show where it's like don't think about it too much, whatever. But like I feel like I said last week, I think I'm just going to lower my expectations because that's what they've told me to do, right? It's like I expected a quality up to here after season 1, and now it's like down here of where I can kind of expect the show to kind of end for me.
Okay, but then the question becomes: at what point are we hate watching or documenting what we're doing? Like, where's the
100%,
line?
right? Yeah, no, 100%. Like we've mostly talked negative about the season. I do feel bad about that. You're right. You're very right. Like again, I don't hate it. I think this season I'm just like neutral. Like I also don't think it helped that it was combined with Invincible, a show we all love, and Daredevil, a revival to one of my favorite shows of all time. So when it came to watch the shows during the week, Preacher was the one I was like, oh yeah, all right, let's, I guess I'll put it on, comparatively to everything else I'm watching at the moment. Do you have any other thoughts?
But the thing of so what kind of
Okay, go
grass
ahead.
is talking
Sorry,
about, right? Because he's saying he disagrees with the level of drop off. And my issue is I sat there like shouting at the TV screen, or even the laptop screen during our conversations about why season 2 was an annoyance, and I'm sat here watching season 3 going, gosh darn, do I miss those of season 2? So like that's why it feels like there's a slope in the drop off. Do you know what I mean? As opposed to just like a cliff. You know what I mean? I'm not saying like season 3's been like tremendously bad. It's just season 1 started off so well that season 2 wasn't as good, but it was good, but we still had issues with it. And then I feel like this hasn't even hit the mark of season 2.
Oh wow, okay. I think I've enjoyed this season more personally. Just personally, I think I had a lot more fun with season 3.
Interesting. Really interesting.
I think just because it feels more inherently Reacher than season 2 did. Like season 2 kind of like watered down, I think, the fun of Jack Reacher as a character and like his dynamics, where I think they get back to it for sure, but like maybe they overcompensate a little bit. Like maybe they go too far into it. It's like, oh, okay, he's the Punisher now. It's crazy.
Well, because for me, like the thing with season 2 is it was more like I'm defending it now after spending so long trashing it, but it's like it's him having the military expertise in the concrete jungle in civilian surroundings
Sure.
and arenas. Do you know what I mean? Like where he has to have like civilian warfare, basically. You know what I mean? Like we've had it in the military, now we're bringing it into the quote unquote real world kind of thing. You know. And then like the to and fro with his team. Yeah, dude. No, I'm still season 2 is definitely better than this one for me. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. I'm curious where it will land on our like re-ranking next season, because I think we were like it kind of like in the middle, where it's like if it's better, then we'll move it up. If it's worse, we'll move it down. So I'm curious to see where it lands.
So like that whole angry bulldog cop in season 2, I liked him. Right? He started off as an antagonist and forget the thing, but like a foil to their plans, and then by the end of it, he died a hero.
Sure.
I mean, that was crazy powerful. Like, there's nobody in this season that's had that arc, like any kind of powerful arc in that sense. And even if Gavin or whatever his name is kills himself for his son, like that's not gonna go. We're not gonna be sitting here going, "Oh man, what a hero!" Like that cop who took 15 bullets and just kept going. Like
Sure.
it's like, well, of course you should, you piece of shit. Like the whole reason he's in this mess is because you're a goddamn gun runner in the middle of rugs.
Sure. So I'm curious because I feel like I really hope you're right. I really hope that they don't take down Quinn next episode. I think it'd be a lot more interesting if they kept him around for like a sequel or something, because like we haven't even dealt with Quinn's higher up yet either, right? Like there's so much to that side of the story that's just kind of there, and we have one more episode, and I'm like, I don't need, like, I feel like they just scratched the surface of Quinn. I think he's a really fun villain so far.
I'm so happy you said that, right?
Okay.
Because do you think that he's more capable than they've shown, right? Because they've done telling us rather than showing us, in that after he got amnesia from being point blank shot in the head and emerging from icy cold waters and everything else, he managed to completely coercively take over an international commercial business.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean? For a length of time before they went, you know what, I'm just going to call the police. I'm terrified for my life. I can't handle this anymore. And then he went, bah, 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 bah. And then upped his game and did it to a criminal empire and just straight took that over. Like, that's not no small feat. You know what I mean? And he can't do that on reputation alone when the guy has amnesia.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they
he is
haven't.
yeah, right? Like he's a fantastic villain that has not been given his time to shine. All he's
agree.
had is small, intimate moments where he's just stood with Paulie behind him, who
Yeah.
looks more menacing.
Yeah, and like we haven't really explored the dynamic between him and Reacher either, right? Like this is like Reacher's like arch nemesis, right? Like he killed my best agent and all this stuff. It's like I want to see their dynamic. I want to see them go at it. I think you could do another season with exploring that further, or like maybe he escapes at the end. Like he sacrifices himself, not Reacher, but Beck. He sacrifices himself. He gets away. He's like, I'll get you next time, blah, blah, blah. And then maybe a couple years down the line, we can circle back around to him. I think would be kind of fun. Canada Graph says, my only question for season 4 is, who do you get to fight him? I mean, you can't find someone bigger than Paulie. You're right. What are the stakes for season 4?
Insane. It is insane because that fully grown man looked like his child when they walked off. Like
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
It was nuts. That guy's a mountain.
Agreed. Do you have any other thoughts before we move on to our next
Canada
show?
Graph says Quinn's gone.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. Do you have any thoughts, Taz, on the final episode of Reacher?
I think he's going to turn into Batman.
That'd be a twist. That would be a crazy twist.
No, I'm kidding.
Crazy.
Tom Cruise cameo? Actually? Original Reacher cameo?
He's got to go like rushing off to like a black tie event, so there's a good chance that if he does try and quote unquote infiltrate, that he could be putting on the Bruce Wayne costume before the Batman one.
You know what? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. But yeah, I think we're gonna move on to our next show here. Which has to be, just kidding. It's Daredevil Born Again. Episode 4? Episode 4 Born Again?
5?
3?
5.
4.
4, 5?
No. 4. It's 4. It's 4. Yeah, it's 4.
4.
Yeah, because next week is episode 4 or 5 and 6 together. That's right.
Oh yeah, you're right. Because they dropped 1 and 2. Then we had 1 episode last week, 1 episode this week, right? So that's 4. I don't even know where we are. I don't even know where we are at this point. This week was good, dude. This week was really good. I think this was what we've been waiting for. This might be my favorite episode. This might be my favorite episode of the season.
I agree. Because I've been thinking a lot like this week. It was like, was this my episode just because that one singular scene? Or was it just a good episode all around? And I do think it was a really good episode all around. That was elevated by that one
marvelous scene.
Yes. I understood that reference, Taz. I definitely did. No, really quickly, Darth, was this your first introduction to John Bernthal's Punisher, or had you seen stuff with him previously? Because I know you didn't do Daredevil.
I've seen some clips in
Okay.
YouTube of him in like that hallway scene, or him getting like that fight with Punisher where he's got the chains on, Kingpin,
Gotcha.
sorry. Things like that. And I've seen him in his little courtroom speech, like, "Oh, you were the big bad Punisher." You know, it's like, oh, okay.
Sure.
Okay.
Have you seen the rooftop scene?
No, just him shouting at him. I haven't got like the full conversation, and it's just him shouting at Daredevil while he looks knocked out like Green Goblin and Spider-Man.
I went down a rabbit hole at work this week of just rewatching every Punisher and like a Matt and Frank conversation scene.
Yeah.
And I did come to the realization now that it's canon. I think all 4 of the scenes I watched, I think are, you could argue, some of the best scenes in the entire MCU.
Oh yeah. Again, I think we're not ready for this conversation yet as a society.
Yeah.
But the fact that Daredevil is in the MCU now, I think Daredevil is the best MCU character and project.
Yeah.
Out of everything.
Yeah, I don't think that's fully
like,
hit people yet, because it's like, oh yeah, it is canon now. So now in people's rankings, you're gonna have Daredevil season 1, season 2, season 3, Jessica Jones season 1,
Punisher season 1 and 2.
The top of people's list in terms
everybody's
of
favorite,
rankings.
Iron Fist and Defenders. But yeah,
that one.
Dude, this episode, like, it started off so strong. We had the big Matt and Frank scene kind of smack dab in the middle of the episode. And then it ends with this crazy not crazy cliffhanger, but big cliffhanger that really sets the stage for and sets the tone for the season going forward. And I think we're in for something incredible. And I do see maybe why we're going to get 2 episodes again next week rather than or I guess this week. 2 episodes this week rather than just 1. But yeah, I just want more Punisher and Daredevil. Like if we could just get a, Punisher and Daredevil spin-off and just have them
watch
like
that. Yeah.
go on adventures. I think that'd be so fun. But
I'd watch a presentation with those 2 in a room talking for an hour straight. I'd watch that.
The Punisher and Daredevil debate morality for an hour
Yeah.
compilation.
Yeah, and like we can talk about like let's just talk about that scene first because I feel
Yeah.
like that's what we all want to talk about. But like,
Yeah.
that's why Frank works so well in Daredevil, because he does complement Daredevil so well as a character, because he is just what Matt's so close to being.
Right.
Like it's
And
so close to being what Frank is, and
he's the antithesis.
yeah, and like we talked about last week, his whole thing of like you're just one bad day away, Red. Just one bad day away from being me. And he's on that. He's just on that edge of like, should I maybe I no I can't. Like I think my favorite scene of the episode is when like Frank's like edging him on. He's like say his name, coward. Say his name, and he punches him. He's like, no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done that. And you literally see the devil be released from his body. Like you see, like Charlie Cox has done such a good job at like making them literally two separate people. Like you see Matt Murdock and you see Daredevil. Like they are two separate personalities almost.
And he's just trying. He's trying to keep the devil locked up.
Yeah.
He's trying to keep him caged, and he just wants to break free.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's great too, is the fact that he has been struggling with that now all season, and it takes Frank Castle to kind of rattle that cage. And I really think the biggest thing that tipped the scales was the reference of like, all right, well, what happened? Also, so side tangent, Frank is the first person to call him Bullseye, I believe. I don't think we've had that Bullseye name dropped. And he was like, all right, well, what happened to Bullseye? And Matt's like, he got life.
Did Foggy get life?
What about Foggy? Did he get life? And I was like, no shot, bro said that. Yeah. I was like, that might be my favorite line of the episode right there.
Yeah.
It was so good. It was so good.
So I definitely want to hear from Darth's perspective, because this is relatively his first introduction to Frank Castle in the MCU. How did their scenes ring true to you, having this be your proper first interaction between those two characters?
It was interesting. I question, not to be like a full dickhead, you know what I mean, but like I question Taz's thing about calling him his antithesis. If he's so close to being him, can he truly be that far away from him on the scale?
Well, that's the thing. I'd argue he's not, right? Because he did try to kill Bullseye. He did, he pushed him off the cliff.
Yeah, I think now Matt is having that hard realization that, oh, maybe I am more like this guy than I thought. Like I that was kind of my, I guess my idea, right? Is so season 2 when we met him, Matt was like, hey, I'm on the morally just side of things. I'm a vigilante, but I'm going about it in the right way. Whereas Frank, hey, you are a murderer. You're insane. Like you're killing these people. They don't deserve to die. People can change. You're not giving them a chance to do so, that sort of thing. Yet now we've come to a point where they've kind of almost met in the middle. It looks like Frank has kind of taken a back seat. He's been out of the game for a little while, where Matt has now almost crossed that line that separated him from the Punisher.
I've been thinking about that line from season 2 where Matt's like, I will never stop hunting you down, Frank. I will keep coming after you. Because you know why? You are crazy. You are a psychopath. That back and forth. And it's like, now he knows where he's located. He's going just to join them for like a talk. Just to, And it's like, we see from those like leaked, I think I can say it's been everywhere now. Like those leaked photos of like them in their suits.
Yeah.
Seemingly working together.
It seems like, yeah.
It's like, that's going to be crazy because that's never happened before. Like they've never, I guess they kind of did at the end
outside
of
like
2.
end of season 2 where he like snipes from the building and he's like,
right,
I owe you one, Red. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, it was a fantastic scene. I've heard people call this the best MCU scene, and I don't think I'm ready to give it to that yet. But how are you on that? Like, do you think it's in the qualification for it?
I think if you would have told me that this scene came from the original series, I would have believed you. Or if it came from like a canceled Punisher season 3 or something like that, I would believe you. I think, again, this is the closest that the show has felt to the original Netflix series. I think with every episode, we're inching closer and closer to that feeling, to that vibe, and not just with the Daredevil and Punisher side of things in this episode. I think the way the episode started off with the, kind of fallout of, White Tiger's death and his niece kind of seeing that and the little, I guess, spark to a potential White Tiger 2. That seems very cool.
Yeah.
We talked about this a little bit before we went on tonight, but the Kingpin and Vanessa side of things too, and how deep that story goes. The kind of inner workings of Kingpin's political team, and how just we've kind of seen that he's changed in a way. Like, if this was season 2 or season 3, dude that made that leak would have been dead, like on the spot. But then we see at the end of the episode, both Fisk and Matt are slipping back into their old ways, or maybe we're never as separated from those old ways as they tried to make each other believe. I think that's the big needle drop, or the big mic drop at the end of the episode.
It's such a good ending, because
Yeah.
we are watching this dual protagonists and two characters that have tried their best not to fall into their old habits, that are just, they're addicted. They have I don't want to say an illness, because that's not necessarily what I want to say, but like, they're so ingrained into their life and their lifestyle. We're slowly seeing them slowly come back into it in such an interesting way.
And they have a desire.
Right, but I would argue that if society was more accepting of his methods, right, if he was being more open about it and it weren't technically illegal, or even if they were, but like people wouldn't give a shit if he ran, I would argue that if it didn't interfere, right, if he could marry the two things, he would, and he wouldn't be on a path to redemption. I don't think that it's come from the bullet wound. I don't think he's seen the light in any way. I just think
100%.
Him separating church and state, or whatever you want to call it, is just solely for public for optics. You know what I mean? To make sure that the criminal empire doesn't A, get him in trouble and get him back in jail, and B, get affected at all by his mayorship. Do you know what I mean? It's all performance based for Kingpin, for my opinion.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I really wanted to believe that it was real, right? Because like Vincent is such a good actor, whereas like, I believe that he wants to do what's best for his city. I do. Like, I don't think that part's an act necessarily, right?
I grew up in this city, and I want what's best for it.
When I was a boy,
wouldn't you agree, Mr. Murdoch?
When I was a boy, like it feels like and like that's always kind of been his thing, though, right? Where it's like he did want to save his city, like, you know, he in his very corrupt way, him having to tear it down and rebuild from the start. He did want to help his city. He wanted to see it grow. That's what his father wanted as well. Not in a very good way, right? But like, he's like that's always been his thing. So like, when he says, like, when he's going out and when he's like, I'm gonna fix this hole, or I'm gonna, you know, take care of this thing, and like, I think he wants to do that.
Yeah,
and
I think he's coming from a genuine place of wanting to help, because he's seen the depths of how bad New York can get, but he does have ulterior motives. I think at the end of the day, he does have ulterior motives. He wants to push to a point where the city trusts him, where they kind of blindly trust him, so that when things come into play, like we've got the start of Muse, who is like, I guess a serial killer. Like, we have an MCU serial killer
Is
on the
that who
loose
that
at
is?
this point.
I was so confused.
Yeah, and also I saw somebody point out something very interesting. His costume, his mask, and everything is made out of like a paint canvas. Like, that's the texture of it. It's not just like fabric or whatever. Like, it looks like a paint canvas, which is super interesting.
Sure.
I had a theory for a brief second in this episode as well, before we got the teaser at the end, is I thought Muse was Adam. Like, I thought that was the route that they were going with it. Obviously, I know we saw the actor early on in the season getting the book signed from the therapist and everything like that, but I thought maybe they were playing fast and loose with it, and maybe that was what the character's name was, but we find out they're two separate characters. Doesn't necessarily matter. I still think that there is some connection, or will be some connection, between him and Kingpin. There's some sort of like criminal triangle going on here. So we've got Kingpin at the top. We know Bullseye's going to come back into things. We know Muse is a big part of things. The question is, do we have these threats to the city working with Kingpin, but under the table working with him? So in the public's perception, these guys are vigilantes causing havoc and causing trouble. Or are they actually going after Fisk? And like we discussed last week, are we going to have a Daredevil Kingpin team up eventually?
Oh,
I'll say
Muse can't be that bad. And also, did you say Adam or Muse was the guy getting the book signed?
Muse was the guy getting the book signed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I can't remember what his name is. I don't think he's got a name in the comics, but I can't remember what he said his name was.
I would say I'm really happy that we know Muse is coming back for season 2, because if not, I would be a little worried that we only have 5 episodes left and we haven't introduced the villain. Which I think my theory that I said years ago when they originally announced it was going to be an 18-episode season, I think what we have now is one long story split up between 2 individual seasons. I think it's a 2-season story arc, which makes me a lot happier, especially with this template that they're going with, because. And this is something I think is very interesting, and we talked a little bit about it last week. When those original things came out and they said they were rescrapping it, one of the criticisms is that they said it was bad because Daredevil didn't suit up until the 5th episode. And I remember we were all like, oh man, yeah, that is pretty. That's crazy. And we're on episode 4. He's getting there. Still not suited up outside of the flashback episode in episode 1.
Yeah.
And I couldn't be happier.
I'm actually okay with it. And that was, oddly enough, my biggest critique of the first season when I first watched it, is that we didn't get the Daredevil suit until the end of the end of the season. That was always my issue. But like, looking back at it now, like, I love that format. I love how he had to earn it. And I think sometimes it's played too long. Like, say if the Green Lantern show is just them without their rings until the end of or the rings don't work until the end of the season or something like that, that would be ridiculous. But I think in a context like this, the fact that we've had 3 seasons, the fact that we have to focus on how does Foggy's death impact Matt Murdock, and why is he not Daredevil?
Yeah.
That is the big selling point to me, and the fact that we have this slow burn, this slow build up that finally bubbles up to the surface, and he's like, I have no other choice but to put the horns back on.
And it's so impressive. Like, I think most people have been really enjoying the show for the most part. Like, I know some people haven't loved it as much, but like, I think it's so impressive to say, like, hey, we're 4 episodes into a superhero show. We don't have the superheroes yet, and be satisfied. And I think that's so much proof to how fascinating of a character Matt Murdock is. Arguably the most interesting character in the MCU at the moment.
He's the most complex. He's got the most
I don't want to be this guy. Right? But there are psychological evaluations to get into both police and army. And we have this going on for a person who wants to jump from rooftop to rooftop and just randomly start beating people up on his presumption of guilt.
You're starting to sound like Wilson Fisk.
I got his head shit. I've got his haircut too.
Yeah.
The vigilantes must
Suffice-
go.
The
Suffice to
vigilante
say,
problem in this city has been plaguing us for years.
But again, like I would argue that if you're having this much of a conflict over being a hero, and your thirst for violence in said moments, you should be taken out of the running. Somebody else should be taking your place. This is why hero mantles get passed down and like
Yeah.
legacy exists, is because not everybody needs. It's not like a ruler where you need to stay on until you die. Like you should be passing it on when the time is right. Like
Sure.
it's a if it should be anything, it should be a stint, like a career, like in and out, not
Yes.
it's mine until I'm done, and then you know what I mean.
I agree with that to an extent, but I think also part of the theme of this season and part of the journey that Matt has to go on is realizing that he can't necessarily beat himself up over the Daredevil side of his life, is that both Matt Murdock and Daredevil are equally as important, not just to
Sure.
him, but to the city of New York. Because
And that-
Matt does a lot as a lawyer in the courtroom. He can save innocent people. However, without the Daredevil side of things, what Matt Murdock does in the courtroom can then be undone outside the courtroom immediately, like we saw with White Tiger. Say if Matt was out patrolling as Daredevil, after that he could have saved his client from certain death.
Sure.
He could stop certain things before they get to a boiling point in a way that he can't by just being a lawyer.
Yeah.
I-
And he's tried that, right? Like we've seen him give it up for characters like Punisher and White Tiger and Spider-Man, and it didn't work, right? White Tiger died because he wasn't there. Like the whole reason White Tiger stepped up is because Daredevil wasn't around to do the job. And now he paid those consequences, and Matt's always been a character.
He was sorry quickly. White Tiger was still doing his thing, like in the time that Daredevil was around. It wasn't just like 8 months or whatever,
Sure.
or 9 months plus. Again, unless you've got vigilantes watching vigilantes, like there's like a higher rooftop that they're watching them from. Like this issue is still going to exist. Do you mean?
Yes.
So again,
Yes.
Daredevil being one man who couldn't even save his best friend on the rooftop. Let's not forget, right? Like, could only do so much.
Yeah. I think that is a good point as well. That the fact that he can't necessarily feel responsible or blame himself for everything bad that goes on in the city, whether he's Daredevil or not. But I think too we're coming to a good middle ground here, because we've seen Matt at points where he wants nothing to do with Daredevil, which is where he's kind of been for this season. We've also seen points where he doesn't want to be Matt Murdock and he is just Daredevil. And I think what we're finally getting him to is that point where he learns that both sides of the coin are equally as important to the city. And I think that that's a good theme to carry on and a good point to end this season off on, where I want Matt to be at a point where it's like, hey, I know we've been through some stuff, but I've got to be Daredevil when I'm needed, but I also have to allow myself time to be Matt Murdock, not just in the courtroom, but also live my life and, be there for my friends and colleagues that need me as well. I think that is a good theme to come away with.
An issue I have with Daredevil versus Batman, right, is that Daredevil's character is intrinsically tied to the justice system, right?
Yeah.
And my issue is that he can't do both, right? Because either you believe in the justice system, flaws and all, and that's what you're a part of, or you're a vigilante who gets the people that you feel need justice, right? because technically, right, even though there are flaws in the justice system, like he's going out, like you say, for example, um, there's a mugger that yanked an old lady's purse, she fell over, bust her hip, right? He then goes to court, gets out on a technicality, right? Daredevil's like, screw that, I know that old lady, right? So then he goes round and then just starts bopping him in the face, right? He's technically assaulted an innocent man, right? So now, through the justice system of which he's such a champion of in the daytime, he should be then charged for assault, right? But just because he's in a costume, like no rules apply to him, or because he's a Christian and struggles with the idea of violence, he feels that he has some moral authority and should not be charged. Do you know what I mean? You can't have both feet in the door and sit there and say that you're a true champion of either.
I see exactly what you mean. I definitely see that. And I think that that's the perspective that Matt is in right now. And that's why he's gone full force into the lawyer side of things. Is he's like, hey, I am not above the law. I shouldn't be out here doing these things.
Sure.
However, I think it's going to, again, get to a boiling point where he's got no choice.
Yeah, that's always been...
At that point, if he's going through that struggle at the moment, sorry, Darren, to cut you off.
No, you're
if
good.
At that point, when he then picks up the horns again, and we saw him like eye fondling him, you know, even though he's blind, he sat there in his little back cave, like looking at the little devil horns.
Like,
we saw it.
Eeny,
right?
meeny, miny, I want you.
The second he picks up those horns, he has to drop the lawyer. He can't do both, because otherwise he's like a massive contradiction in himself and a hypocrite and a criminal. So he has to do, like, he can't do both. So like what I'm saying is, like, right now he's doing the lawyer side of it and he's doing everything fine, right?
Right.
But the second he picks up the horns, he can't be a lawyer anymore.
Right.
Sure. I mean, morally, you're 100% right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Like, yeah, you're in the right 100%, but he's under the mindset where it's like, I can do good as both. And it's a very similar, I think, Punisher thing, where it's like, I am doing this for other people who won't have to. I am trying to make this change. I am sacrificing my own goodwill. And
the ends justify the means.
Sure.
I think is that mindset.
And, you know, like, I don't think there's anybody saying that there's a morally, like, Matt is doing the morally right thing. Like, I don't think anyone has ever said that, right? Like, he is a flawed character. He's always been a flawed character. Like, if you put him on trial, yeah, he's going to be guilty.
Yeah. I mean, a dude dresses up like, you know, put some devil horns on his head and goes beats up criminals with sticks. He's got some problems.
Sure.
But, you know, we know he's doing it for the right reasons.
I've seen some people, like, theorize, like, oh, maybe he's going to, like, reveal his identity at some point in this run. I was like, I don't know how we get past that. Like, I don't know how you could, like, just in terms of, like, a justice system, I'd be...
Then every case would be a conflict of interest at that point. Or any case that Daredevil has an association with. Like, it would very much so narrow down.
Sure. How would you write that in? Yeah.
Right.
White Tiger's case was a massive conflict of interest, I would argue.
But nobody knew that Matt was a vigilante, which is why he could still take that case. Yes. But again, I think it goes back to the same sort of thing as, like, the moral dilemma of Peter Parker using
Spider-Man knows he's a flawed being. So he knows he's a flawed being, so that makes it okay. 100%. He's like, I know I'm struggling with this dilemma, so I'm going to go in as a conflict of interest, but it's okay because I know I'm struggling. It's okay, guys. I'm going to talk about it in confession. I know I'm struggling.
Yet again, I guess my second Superman and Lois reference for the stream, but didn't they make a reference to, like, oh, we've always played, like, fast and loose with journalistic integrity? Like, I think it's that same sort of thing is...
Oh yeah, yes. No, I argue that side as well. Best believe that. I'm pretty sure I'm on record as to say that shouldn't happen either.
Right. You know? No, again, you are 100% right. You are morally correct. Is like, you cannot justify doing both. Either you are a vigilante that does not believe in the system, that thinks the system is broken and you have to take matters into your own hands, or you are a lawyer, you have 100% faith in the system, you trust the process, whatever happens, happens.
Okay. So we've chewed that out, right? Can we also talk about how the fact that this one, okay, I am not an ableist in any way. Okay, please do not believe that I am, and I say this with all the utmost respect to the blind community. How the fuck did he find that bullet casing? That
He
was crazy. That was
he
crazy.
used
I saw the process.
echolocation and
I saw the process, but there's no way. There's no way. There's
it's
no
because he's
goddamn way.
Daredevil.
Comic book or otherwise, there is no goddamn way. He
It's
has
because
so many people in that office. I'm sorry. He has so many people in that office. What's his name? Cherry? That cool guy, Cherry? Like, you could be using him for every goddamn thing. Give him some fucking credit. Why the hell have you got fucking... Oh my god. No, innit? Just no.
This.
Like, oh, just no. No, like this show, like has got great heights, okay, and then that's all I'm gonna say. They got great heights, and they gave us that scene when there's umpteen other people that again I'm just not ableist. So I'm gonna shut up.
I thought it was a really good scene, and again, Daredevil has powers. For all
Have
intents and
somebody
purposes.
with him. Just have somebody there. Like, I'm not even saying have somebody do all of it. Just have somebody with him.
So is your problem with him locating where the bullet went? Because that is very simple. Is he saw where he figured out where the impact was. He dropped a thing that was similar to, or he found the casing, right? He found the bullet casing, dropped it.
Drain.
Right. No. So there's the difference. What was it? No. So he found the bullet and then figured out where the casing rolled to. And that's what we had to do. Right?
I feel like his sight has always been one that's never truly defined, right? Like, he's a character where he needs to see stuff he can, right? Like, he says that I can't see the same way everyone else sees, but I still see. Like, I can feel the vibrations. I can see certain things. It's very comic booky because it's like any way I need my abilities to work will work in said scenario, and I do think this is one of those situations of like he needed to be able to find it, so thus he did. I'm not saying that's necessarily.
But again, I think in a lot of ways that to me, him locating the bullet casing is more realistic than him like in a fight scene. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's pretty simple. He just listens to where the object falls, follows the sound trail, hears where it hits, reaches in, feels around, grabs a bullet, bada bing, bada boom. It didn't seem very supernatural in that regard.
See, I've seen blind boxing, and I would say that the fight scenes are way more believable than him finding a bullet.
Okay.
Like, blind boxing, those people are crazy good.
Sure.
Like, just like blind people can fight, dude. Like, it's nuts.
Are they fighting other blind people though? Is that how that would work?
Yeah.
Okay. So I feel like there's like an extra bit of that though with Daredevil, where it's like he's fighting like expert fighters and like top line ninjas and stuff like that, and he's still coming out on top. I think that's where the disbelief sometimes comes from, which I love.
Again, he got doused with the same chemicals as the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, so don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it.
See, like in the 90s, like Spider-Man cartoon, he basically just had it like a red filter over his eyes. That was all it was. That was
right.
And it's similar to that in the show. They visualized it, I believe, once, right? That was, I can't remember what season was. That season?
Oh,
1?
I'm dying to see this. Right? Because
there's there's a really
determines if he could have done that bullet.
There's a really good scene where like slight spoilers, but he's about like someone's in the rain. he's about to kiss someone inside the rain, and the rain is falling on this person, and he can kind of see their face via the vibrations of the rain falling on them, and he can see that person kind of. Which is like, I don't know how that works. Like, I'm not a, I'm not blind.
So
I don't know how that works exactly.
That leads me to believe. That leads me to believe that he needs some kind of eidetic memory, right? Because the whole reason that like so say for example, like it works on radar, right? Because that's what we're supposed to lead to believe, right? It's like radar / sonar stuff, right?
Sure.
So like the bottle like ting 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 down the steps, right? And then he gets like a map, like a small map of where he is. But then he still has to like remember it, right? He still has to like physically remember everything that he's just seen and like map it out, the whole while still constantly tapping to get some small, like it's like having a mini map and then like a small boop, boop, that shows you the small bit of the map that you're getting. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
Because he's got to be hitting really hard to get like the whole thing. And then even then, like I refuse to believe that the sound waves are that intricate that
Yeah, he
he's
just-
picking up a small bullet.
He just had
In
an
a
advanced
drain.
UAV, and he cranked
Man.
his sound volume all the way up on his headphones. All
And
right,
I'm
that's
pretty sure he didn't even feel around. Like
No, he did just
Yeah, but-
reach in and just.
He just grabbed it.
do you know, this is what I'm saying. Like, there's a real suspension.
But
of,
he
like,
can.
Sure.
He just feels it. He just knows where it
But
is.
all of the sound had gone. At that point, it was just him doing it off memory alone.
Well, he could probably smell the metal or something.
Let's talk
My
about Fisk
gosh.
a little more.
Yeah.
I really, this was easily my favorite episode of Fisk so far, very easily. I think one of the funniest bits in both Daredevil shows, and I think that's what Daredevil was always really good at, is like they had very casual humor. They weren't very over the top with it, but like the whole "we built the city" bit had me dying. Like, have him just like his scene when like they're like, okay, so for our next one, he's like, no, that's okay. That was wonderful.
No,
I
I'm
gotta
fine.
go."
I'm fine. You all performed wonderfully. I would totally like to listen to another song, but I have much more
Well,
important
honey-
mayoral duties to attend to.
No, that's enough.
That was
Thank
all
you.
real. That was a real scene. That weren't even. That was. That was.
And I just love now everybody's gonna use the gif of him like standing up and clapping. It's like
That's
yes,
so good. Yeah.
wonderful children. You're all so very talented.
Yeah. And
Who would like to join my criminal organization when they get older?
And it's so good because I think what made season 1 so special is like you could understand every point of where Fisk was coming from in his journey. You could kind of by the end of season 1 you could be like, oh, maybe he's right. Maybe you should start the city from scratch and blah blah blah. And I think what was so good about that scene or this episode in general is you see the frustration. You see a character that is trying his best to save his city, to do good, to be a good person. And there's the red tape after red tape after red tape. And this is something that both Matt and Kingpin have to deal with this episode, where it's like, I want to do good, but the city won't let me do that good. There's always something in my way, which I think Fisk is finally able to almost relate to what Daredevil has been going through all of these years, kind of thing, which I think is very fun. And it's like, man, I had complete control when I was this like kingpin of the city. Could I have done more good as that kingpin than as mayor? Right? And I think that kind of goes into not the corruption, but just like the system being fundamentally broken at its core, which I think is very interesting.
Can you imagine Wilson Fisk putting on a suit to get construction permits?
Yeah. Get rid of the lines. Just let me do my thing. And that scene with what's this new kid's name? I don't have these new characters locked down
I can't
yet.
remember. Yeah.
Bruce? Is it Bruce or something?
Is it Bruce?
No.
Darren?
But-
Darren?
Maybe something. Like I thought. Honestly, I'll say it now, and this doesn't prove
Daniel.
out to me. Daniel.
Daniel.
I think Daniel might be the best.
Listen to me, Daniel.
I think he might be the best new character so far. Like, I think if I had one main criticism of the show, they haven't done a lot for me to care about these new characters that much so far. And hopefully we will as the show goes on. But I think Daniel is such a good addition. I think he contrasts Fisk so well because he does symbolize a younger Wilson Fisk, and he sees himself in a kid like that. And I love the scene. It's like, man, this was on me. The absolute guts and courage it takes to be like, listen,
Yeah.
I did this. You should fire me. I fucked up. I promise I will never let this happen again. And if you do fire me, I will still support you. And, really feeding into the ego of Fisk of like, oh, loyalty can be bought, right? Like, his thing is always about loyalty. That's his thing at his core. And he has someone that is probably more loyal than anyone on his staff at the moment. Truly is. So I thought that scene was excellent.
And I still loved the fact that he's like, if you ever do this again, you know exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah. What do you say? Like, they will pay. Whoever did this will pay.
Yeah.
It's like, I would not confess after that. Holy
He's like,
shit.
oh, no, what did he say? If you cross me again, it'll be the last thing you ever do.
Yeah. And
that woman was just stood there.
Yeah.
The whole time. That poor lady, had to just witness a death threat. You know?
Yeah.
Like, that was crazy.
She's like,
she's like,
shut
oh.
the fuck up,
She's like,
shut up.
Like, dude, like,
how many
chill,
times
you're
that's happened
cool.
in front of her in the mayor's office? How many mayors have come through, like, I'm going to kill all of my aides? I swear to God.
So good.
Yeah, he's the only one that would actually go through with it, though.
But again, so, we're talking about the reason that these institutions are in place. Again, they have been bastardized, corrupted, and used in the wrong fashion in some senses, but they exist for a reason, right? Because there is no real rhyme or reason as to why one man says, oh, I can make things better. Who's to say his vision of anything is better? The guy's a goddamn kingpin. As you said, Darren, previous seasons, would not have made it just because he's been put a bullet in his face, you know what I mean, and is now a bit more not as ready to pull the trigger, maybe. Like, he is clearly not the person to go to steer the ship in the right direction.
Sure.
In a fair, free, and open society. Do you know what I mean?
Sure. For sure.
And Daredevil as well. Do you know? Like,
sure.
Because the simple fact that like that Daredevil or even Matt Murdock didn't call the police when he was in Nick Fuentes' apartment, whatever his name was, right? When he got jumped, defending a CI, of which there should be some record, especially if there was payments made and stuff. Do you know what I mean? So the fact that he's there and can corroborate that he was a confidential informant in this and this and this, like, just shows that neither of these people are the right people. Do you know what I mean? Because again, if he truly believed in the system of violence and justice, he would be taking different steps, right? And Fisk, while he might be trying to do the right thing, what is like that building thing, like that plaza that he's trying to build, is interesting, but is it the right choice? Like, the whole reason those zoning things are there is because it might be dangerous.
Sure.
You know what I mean, to have there in the first place. So again, not the right people to be leading the charges.
Sure. But I think there's also something to be said of, like, how much of these are real concerns for the city and how much of it is just like, well, this is how it's always been done, so it must be done this way. It's like, is there a way to get these things done faster? Can he help the city in a way where there aren't all these red tapes? I think there's a reason why, like, mayors don't ultimately do a lot in their city. Why, all this stuff. Like, I don't know the name of my mayor. I don't know a single thing he's ever done, right? So it's like,
Well, it's
Like,
I
interesting
know
as
some
well.
places have like symbolic like cats and dogs as their mayor. Like so
Right,
it's not
right.
even,
Um, like the thing is though, is like she literally said, like this is the job. Going and meeting your community members and showing them that they have value.
Sure,
I mean, that's supposed to be his job, not sitting there building Trump Plaza 2.0.
sure, fair, fair.
ooh, you know what I just thought about? Do we get like Fisk Tower eventually?
I've heard people theorize that maybe he buys it off of what's it called? What's her name?
Valentina.
Valentina. Yeah, maybe.
Oh, so eventually after Thunderbolts, then we get the Avengers Tower that she bought, then gets bought by Fisk.
Hold on. What if Fisk, like, I don't know how rich Fisk is. I don't think he's that rich. But what if he gets a hold of the Thunderbolts, right? Like what if his thing is like,
Ooh.
I'm going to take out vigilantes by
Well,
having a legal team to take care of crime and vigilantes.
That would be
well,
interesting.
that's
He just
good.
kind of like swoops in and just like
Defenders
Val-
versus Thunderbolts would be kind of sick as hell. I'd be kind of okay with that.
Fisk's runners and goons, his captains, are talking about 1.3s and 1.8s as like interchangeable reparations and payments. So I think like he must be hoarding a supreme amount of money.
Sure. It's interesting because, like, there was a. They don't really explain the money thing because he starts off the show as very rich. And then a thing happens to him, and then he does lose some of his money. And then they don't really explain how he gets it back. You know, he just. The next day, he just has his money again. It's like, okay, you know, so it's very, like. You know, they don't really explain the whole money situation. So I feel like they could just be
But this
like,
is another point. Like he hoards like a whole crazy amount of money, and instead of doing what Bruno Mannheim does, which is reinvest it into the community and make it better, like
sure.
he's just talking about making like a plaza to which I assume he would sit in there like and have the power over put his guys in there. Like it's not an altruistic thing. Do you know what I mean? He's not
Sure.
bettering the city
I
in a
see.
real way.
Oh, yeah, he's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
very. Like, he's a very selfish man. Like, that's
right.
kind
He's
of
a
been his
he's
whole.
a selfish leader.
He
Right,
wants.
this is what I'm talking about. It's like this is why I'm saying like it's all like I understand it, that the whole premise of watching it is like we're watching flawed people, right? But it's like it's some of the worst people that are putting themselves forward as I have to do this. There's no one else but me. And I'm like, my guy, there are dozens of other people other than you. There are loads of people. Sit the fuck down.
Sure. Yeah, no, like, I think Fisk's thing has always been I want to have the illusion that I'm a good person. Like, that I am doing things for the right of the people if it fits into my narrative and what I want.
Right.
So
I guess that brings us kind of full circle though. What is his plan? What does he want? We see at the end of the episode he's got Adam all locked up in a cell underneath whatever, you know, the building that they're in is. So what's the end game here? What's the ultimate plan? What is he playing at?
Sure. And I think, you know, I didn't really think too much of it, but like they had said in like interviews that like he, you know, he's not as big as he used to be, but he's gonna slowly make his way back. I do think it's very funny that he's like down in the basement with this huge ass meal, just, you know, eating it. And you know, Wilson said he puts on like a fat suit this season. So it's gonna be really interesting to see. Maybe by the end of episode 2, he's you know, we get like the big Kingpin again, which is gonna be really funny. Yeah, and I love the
Kingpin's
foreshadowing.
always got good meals going.
Oh my gosh, it looked excellent. It did look delicious. I wanted to eat what he was having, and I love the foreshadowing of like the last couple episodes and starting it with like the blood on his hands. You're like, where'd he get that? How did it happen? It's like,
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he kept
back to his old tricks.
And he kept his word. He didn't kill him.
That's true.
He didn't kill him.
I haven't seen the OGs, right?
Yeah.
So with the what the therapist asked Vanessa in the way of like, are you safe? Do you feel safe? Right? Do you believe Vanessa when she said, "I've never felt this way. I've never felt fear of you, but do I now need to start?" Do we believe that line, or has there been times where she's like, "Ooh, I need to tread on some eggshells here, or I might be getting a big meaty backhander"?
I would.
Definitely. Oh, go ahead, Taz.
Oh no, you go. You go first.
I have never felt like she was in any fear of him hurting her personally, outside of maybe her getting hurt via his consequences, right? Like we've
Yeah,
seen
I agree.
many situations of like because of what Fisk is doing, she's almost got hurt or in trouble or whatever.
Mhm.
But like I've never seen a world where like he would hit Vanessa, he would go after Vanessa, but
Yeah.
maybe we could get there. I could
Yeah.
like we talked about it last week. Like, will they be pushed to a point where maybe he falls out of love with her? Maybe because they're clearly not in the same spot they were 8 years ago in the original
Mhm.
show. They simply are not. So, and you know, we've kind of found another common ground again at the end of the episode. It seemed, but like, how much of that is genuine? Like, we haven't really seen things from her perspective yet. It's all been via Fisk's point of view.
Right.
What has she been planning? What has she been cooking? Does she still love him? Is it all fake? Like, there's a lot there.
I think that she's going to become more of a threat than we thought. And solely from the fact, again, something we brought up before we got on stream here was this character was not, number one, not as big of a part of the show in the original draft, but the original actress was not in the role as
Yeah.
well. So bringing her back and
Thank God.
giving Vanessa as big of a role as she's had so far, I think she is going to be a very important puzzle piece. I think that she, by being in charge of the criminal organization for as long as she was while Fisk was away, I think she's a lot more capable than even Fisk can see on the surface. And I don't think that she's stupid. I don't think that she's foolish. I think that she
Yeah.
probably knows exactly what's going on. With Adam and everything like that. And again, I don't think she fears for her own safety, more so fears for the safety of the people around her and what Wilson would do for her or in spite of her. I think that is the big question there. And
Okay,
she needs to figure out whether or not this is the same man she fell in love with back in the original show.
So you think that could change? Okay, that was one of my other questions. So,
Yeah.
Another question for you. So it's a two-parter. Do you think, because obviously the criminal empire like predates Vanessa, right? So
Yeah.
Yes.
do you think in the OG show and now, right? I'm asking for both eras. Do you think Wilson Fisk would have given up the criminal empire for Vanessa, or even gave it to Vanessa?
I
So do
think
you think that before and now?
I don't want to spoil that show, but in season 2 he almost does, right? In a sense where he put a lot of his money and resources to protect her, and there's a line that was like, wherever it takes, just take care of Vanessa, just make sure she
Yeah.
has everything she needs. And yeah, like this is something I thought about a lot, where it's like, would he give up his power for her if it came down to it, where it's like, live with Vanessa across the country with no power and no real money, or keep his power and his resources and his whatever? What would he choose? And
I think originally he would choose her. Now I'm not so sure.
I agree. Yeah.
Right?
I
Because
agree.
Now I'm not so sure.
now I feel like she's going to be brought into that room to meet Adam again, and I feel like there's going to be some underlying threat where it's like if this happens again, or if you cross me, not only are they going to end up in there, but I'm making a space.
Yeah.
And I think there's a part of Vanessa that I don't know if she even likes him anymore. Like, there's that scene. I think that she loves him, but like, I think there's an underlying almost hatred right now. Like, there's that scene inside the therapist office where she's describing in great detail about their experiences. Like, oh, it was like a painting, and she's going into like very explicit details in front of him, seemingly trying to make him jealous, to make him mad. And I don't know if that was just to try and like reveal that he has Adam, if that was like what the plan was there, but they just don't like. I think Fisk is trying his best to hold on to that relationship, but like,
Yeah.
I think like I don't think he would have done what he's done with Adam right now at the end of season 3. And I don't think she would be treating him the way she's treating him in season 3 either. So again, a lot has changed within their dynamic. Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
I'm just still waiting for him to use the phrase of like, I will not wear the horns of a cuckold or something. You know what I mean? Like just go full like OG with it, you know, because like he has a great vocabulary, so I'm waiting for him to use it. In the situation, of course.
I want to play the other side of that and the parallels to it, because we already talked about the red flags that Fisk has, you know, the hoops he has to jump, and then I'm loving the Matt Murdock weekly like lawyer stuff that we're getting. That's something we never got on Daredevil. Like, yes, we got lawyer stuff, but it was more of how it connected to the main stuff of the
right.
It
was all intertwined.
Yes.
Whereas sometimes this is now just kind of side story. Like, this is just his day job. Like, Matt's doing Matt stuff.
And it's so fun to watch. Like, they did such a good job with that. And I don't remember the client's name or anything, but like, I thought that stuff was so interesting.
Oh, yeah.
And how it shows perspective, because at first we're like, this guy, he's so selfish and he's blah, blah, blah. And he's, you know, he's so like ungrateful. Matt's sticking his neck out and doesn't care. And then we get to like the nitty gritty. We're seeing it from his perspective of like, this is not a first time thing. I just want food. You know, like there's that brilliant line where it's like, they're willing to pay more to put me behind bars than to feed me. Is like,
and it just that again showing how the system has failed the society in a lot of ways.
It's so good.
I kind of I was watching that scene thinking, one, Matt's just being a dick. I didn't think, oh, he's sticking his neck out. I just thought he was a real grade A prick, right? And just because he can sonar the man's heartbeat and like tell that the man was lying, it was some goddamn Fruit Loops or something. You know what I mean? Like, for you to be coming in with that kind of energy, do you know what I mean, was completely unnecessary. I understand the man's got like a whole lifetime of priors, but that's what happens. You guys live in a jungle. Like, you guys live in a dog-eat-dog society, and shit like that happens. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right, but it's also, too, it's a serious matter, number one. Number two, like you said, is he's done this before. It'd be one thing if it was like, hey, this is a one-time thing. I'm, you know, hard on my luck, that sort of thing. I don't have money right now. I just needed some food. I was starving. No, it's like, this is kind of the guy's MO, and I think Matt was trying to teach him a lesson in a way, too. Is like, hey, like, I'm going to stick my neck out for you. I'm going to go above and beyond. I'm going to get you a really good deal. And
there was no sticking of any neck. He just went get back in and back in. There was no sticking of any neck.
I mean, he convinced of a lower sentence.
He used his charm. There was no sticking of any neck. Okay, there was no
point. Matt used his
any peril.
He used his daredevil riz to you know.
Yeah, that's all he did. Because again, like, the woman was just ready to drop her skirt, right? Like, there was zero effort. Like, it was all charm, right? There was no point he was in any peril. His neck was nowhere near the chopping block or anywhere near the line, right? Secondly, like, I understand that, like, he is dealing with a quote unquote career criminal, but when you look at his rap sheet, a lot of it was panhandling.
Yeah.
Like, and things like that of just needing more from society but not being given it, and it's still being treated as a crime. And then because of that, Matt decided to come in with the energy of like, I just don't have the time for you. Like, I'm coming in here, lick my shoes, you know? Like, No, innit? Go fuck yourself. You're a public defender. You
Yeah.
should be coming in here with a completely different attitude and a whole grace
Sure.
about the situation.
And I think he did. Like, I think like because he also didn't treat him Matt very well either. Like, he didn't show Matt any kind of respect or whatever, which I get why. Like, he's not in a good mood to treat him with any respect. But like, I think him coming in is like, oh, I get the blind one. Oh, what the hell? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
yeah.
he was a
Yeah.
monster. He was a
Yeah,
monster.
he was really
I understand
ragging
why
on him
Matt was
for-
kind of like, all right, let's just get this done, whatever. And then once he saw it from his perspective, like, oh,
Sorry. He has spoken to Kingpin, who's beaten the shit out of him, with more respect than his client.
yeah, fair
True.
enough.
True.
Yeah.
Very, very true.
But I love that scene when he fully understands the situation. He's coming back home to Heather. He's being like, man, like one of my clients have died. The other one's getting locked up for some kettle corn. Like he's really seen the consequences of the city, and like despite his best efforts in the past as Daredevil and as a lawyer, things are still not working out. And like this is one of those situations where him suiting up as Daredevil is not going to help the situation, right?
Right.
That,
There's
like,
nothing
that
he
isn't-
can do in costume for this guy specifically.
Exactly, but it's still, I think, a representation of like, man, can I be doing anything for the city? Can I still be going out there and helping people?
Do you know what?
Right.
If he has such knowledge of the issues and the problems, why not run for Senate? Right? The guy could literally run for office on the platform of him knowing so much about the city's issues and how to solve them without his fists. Why not run for Senate where he could genuinely make change?
I am the Senate.
But then we kind of run into like a Kingpin thing where like Kingpin's struggling to make any difference as well. Like he's just running through the red tape.
He's still doing it via his criminal empire. Like,
Sure,
he's
no,
not-
100%. But like, could Matt actually do real change if he was on there? And that goes through the same thing that he goes through as a lawyer, where it's like I am there. Like, there's ultimately nothing I can do to make a fundamental change because the system is broken, which is why I rely on Daredevil. Right? That's his whole thing. Could he make change? Maybe.
But like, so there's fighting the system from the inside, but there's also changing the system. At which point you could do, like, by setting precedents as a judge, which you need like a certain level of years of experience as a lawyer. Do you know what I mean? So there are like avenues in his career of which he could still make change.
Sure.
Like legal change with ramifications throughout society. But again, the wrong person is up for the goddamn job because that's not even on his sonar. And I say sonar, not radar. You know what I mean? Like, it's a piss take. Like, again, flawed character and all that. But do you know what I mean? Like, even if that was like, if he had a vision board and there was just a guy with a gavel, I would be happy. Like, because then it would just be in his periphery of like, I could do that, but I feel like this is more effective and direct. Do you know what I mean? Like some kind of conversation or acknowledgement that there are other choices, but he's out here thinking, well, no, I'm just fist happy.
Sure. I'm trying to think. Let's talk about the niece a little bit, because this is something we kind of talked about last couple weeks. Was like, could we see a daughter or a niece or someone up stepping to the plate in terms of a new White Tiger? What do you think the future of White Tiger is? Because I said on social media, like I was like, oh, she's definitely getting her own show, and a lot of people disagreed with me. They're like, there's no way she's getting a show.
I think maybe Young Avengers. Maybe Young
Warriors.
Avengers would be probably the best fit.
What'd you say, Darth?
Don't you think she's a bit too young? Like, I was all like, oh yeah, White Tiger's getting her own show, but unless she gets the Ant-Man treatment, Ant-Man kid treatment, like, and they age her up some, I feel like she might stand out in the Young Avengers.
How old is she?
I don't know.
We know.
Like, even like America Chavez is like grown up by now.
Sure.
True. I was thinking, maybe is she around the age of like Miss Marvel? Wasn't she supposed to be in high school? But I guess she seems younger than that, probably. So yeah, you're right.
But
that is
like,
the only
several years in.
Right, you're right. But that really is the only drawback. we probably couldn't fully fledged have this character for another like 5+ years.
Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Like, if they could. It's tough because, like, when I saw her, I was thinking, oh, maybe she's, 13, 14. We've seen heroes in TV shows suit up that young, right? Like, I think it's...
Yeah.
I don't think it's out of the question, but you're right. I think, like...
It's possible, but unlikely, I think, at the moment.
Sure. Because I've heard people say, like, okay, here, like, I think these are the three options. I think she could, one, maybe get her own series down the line. You could do Champions, right? Like, that's around the corner. That's a possibility. Or three, which I actually think might be likely, like, this could still happen with option A and B on the table, Defenders. I could see a world where Matt has to kind of hit her under his wing a little bit. I could see it being like a Black Lightning situation where she is trying to go out and do what her father's doing and doing it very badly and probably almost getting killed multiple times, and him having to be like, listen, if you have to go out there, if you are refusing not to give this up, let me train you. Let me help you to at least not get murdered your first night out there.
Yeah,
because that will be
listen, kid. This is how you vigilante properly.
Sure, I think that could be fun. And if it's like we've heard the rumor of like Daredevil season 2 kind of being like a soft like Defenders thing or whatever, where like they have to battle Fisk in his like anti-vigilante role or whatever. That could be a fun addition. Like, how does a character like this compare to like a Luke Cage or whatever? Go ahead, Darth. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to talk over you.
Sorry, no, I was rude being talking to you, but I'm just so excited to see this Kingpin interact with Tom Holland Spider-Man, because I feel like they are the best versions of each, like best live action version of each hero that we've ever going to get, in my opinion, because Vincent D'Onofrio is an incredible actor.
Yeah,
and the gravitas that he brings to such an impossible role, because the guy is like supposed to be built like a quarterbacker, you know what I mean? Like two of them stuck together, you know what I mean? But he still makes it believable.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he still makes it all real, and I just the depth that he's shown that he has is astounding, and it's just to have Spider-Man backflipping off of him. Oh, I want it.
I do too. Yeah, I'm wondering how you would go about that exactly, because I know there are those restrictions and stuff like that. Could you open Spider-Man 4 similar to how you start the Insomniac Spider-Man game?
I literally had the exact same idea. Spider-Man 4 opens with Spider-Man versus Kingpin inside of Fisk Tower.
That'd be sick. I'd be down for that.
See, why are we not in the writer's room? This is nuts.
Because logistically it wouldn't work, because Sony rights and TV rights and all this stuff, and they probably can't cross paths or something. I don't know.
I would.
They're all in the same universe. There's no reason they can't.
Well, for the same reason why we can't see Spider-Man on TV, like
it's stupid.
Like he physically is not allowed to appear in Daredevil because it's technically a TV show. However, I wonder what the rules are for those special presentations. Because it's technically not a TV show, but it's also technically not a movie.
I've heard
where the rights fall on those.
I asked about that on social media, and people are like, "That's considered like a short TV show. It's under the same category," which is like, damn. But then I'm like, well, why don't you do like a little like animated project that is just like, it's in the MCU, but we can do maybe a little story with like maybe like an animated Defenders project or something. Could be kind of fun. But I don't know if I said this last week on here, if it was on Pipeline or whatever, but like I've been saying, I think I'd be more excited for a Defenders movie or season 2 or something that's like our Defenders, Spider-Man, Moon Knight if you have to.
If you have to. Of course Moon Knight has to be there.
The Hawkeye, Punisher, I would be more excited for that than Avengers 5 and 6, I think. I think that would get me a lot more excited.
Yeah.
Canada Grass brings up a really interesting point about justice and reparations and crime and the resolution of. Like, he's saying if Daredevil just walked in and put $2 on the counter, that the problem is solved. But then, would having the crime already be committed, is that a true resolution of the incident?
And like you have the whole thing of like those cops didn't pay for it either, and they're just eating it, and it's like, but they get to get away from it because they have that privilege,
right?
And that goes into the same thing of like,
yeah,
that corruption that's always just going to be there, and like obviously that's not like on the level as like the Kingpin corruption and stuff we had in past Daredevil seasons, but it's still there. There's still a fundamental problem in the system that's broken.
Do you know what? You know what's amazing? Sorry.
You're
the straightest arrows in this show have been the police guy that has just been all up in Fisk's face, which I love. Right? That there's some like the police chief. He's an absolute bruiser.
Yeah.
Matt Murdock's lawyer friend, apart from when she lied about a date, and I think Cherry. Like those three have been like the truest representations for me of like how a real person with true convictions and intent in their beliefs would act.
I kind of want to just like touch on a thing I was talking about, like those supporting characters a bit more, because I really like the idea of all those characters. Like I like Cherry being like the PI friend and Heather being the new love interest and all these things. But I do hope we get more of them, because right now they are just serving a role where it's like, well, it's the PI character and it's the girlfriend and it's the journalist.
And I'm not sure how important these characters are going to be next season.
Yeah.
Based off of some set pictures.
Is Heather going to be around next season?
Heather's in the cast for next season, so at least she's sticking around for another.
How do you think the train tracks are all going to intersect, right? Because do you think they're going to wait and have just Matt find out this season, or then like find out and make a few quips?
Sure.
Because at some point he's going to definitely betray her trust and their privacy once he finds out. And at that point, like when Kingpin finds out, or does he even know? Do you know what I mean? Like, and then if he does know, does he have like contingencies in place where he's private but not fully private? Do you know what I mean? So like he needs to surveil the area to know when it's being surveilled. Do you know what I mean? Kind of thing. Or he doesn't know, and then when he does find out, he instantly quits and then sits there using it to his advantage. Like, oh, I'm just going to start threatening it now or whatever. I mean, there's like a million ways that this could go, and I don't know the show well enough to guess which one.
Sure. Yeah, Heather, like, I'm really curious about that, because like they've been moving really, really fast. Probably the most in-depth we've seen Daredevil in a relationship. Like, not to spoil the previous shows, but like relationships don't normally last very long for him. Like he kind of screws them up rather quickly. And like you have that scene this episode that's like, I couldn't imagine you not being here. I was like, whoa, that's really, really quick.
Yeah.
And things are going well for him, but he's also not Daredevil yet. So I'm really curious about their dynamic.
Yeah.
Where, she's like, where do you go at night? Why is your face all banged up? What's going on? That was a big thing for Karen, where there was a lot of mysteries that he could not tell her. He could not fully dive into. Like, you won't let me in, and that's why this couldn't work for us, kind of thing.
So does he, from the jump, once he puts the suit back on, tell her, like, hey, I'm Daredevil? Like,
I don't think so.
Does he go the opposite route of what he's done in the past, where he waits to tell the significant people? Okay.
I think he needs to. It's going to be in the headlines, right? Especially with BB on the street. Like, it's going to be, the second he's back, it's going to be like Spider-Man was back in the goddamn scene.
No, of course. But the fact that Matt Murdock is Daredevil, is saying, hey, like, Daredevil's back.
Yeah.
I am him.
I hope not, to be honest. I like...
Okay.
Because she would be one of the only... Go ahead.
Are we saying, like, publicly or to Karen?
No, just to Heather. Like, is he going to tell
Yeah.
Heather? Yeah.
Right, because does he see, oh, I've destroyed friendships and relationships in the past by hiding this part of myself. Why don't I just come clean from the beginning and say, hey, this is what I'm doing, this is my life, and this is a part of me, and I don't want to lie about that.
The thing is, though, is they both have client privileges,
Yeah.
right? So I think it's a relationship that works quite well being compartmentalized. So I think they'll both handle it very, very well.
I will say, when it does happen, I know exactly how it's going to happen. He's going to come to her and be like, I need I need a therapist for a thing, and be like, okay, what do you need to talk about? I'm Daredevil. Shit, I can't tell nobody because it's under the client.
Oh yeah, that'd
It's
be funny.
Damn, I can
Oh no,
never-
or like set it up as like Daredevil comes in and is like, all right, I'm here for my therapy session, and then he like takes off the mask.
Yeah, like there's that really good scene. I think it's in season 3 when Karen tells Foggy about a certain thing she did in season 1, and he's like, okay, wait, I pay me $1 for I can officially be your lawyer for I legally can't, testify against you in court. It's like, oh, okay. Like something kind of like that I think would be really, really funny. Jonathan says, why hasn't Frank gone after Fisk yet? He's had so many years to take him out. That's a good question, actually.
I think he's too high profile, especially now. I think Frank has had to lay low, and killing somebody as high profile as Wilson Fisk. Also, Fisk has been in and out of the public eye, so he's probably been tough to track down.
Mm-hmm.
And when he has, made himself public again, he's literally the mayor. So you kind of can't assassinate the mayor. Like, I mean, you can, but
And people ask the same thing about Bullseye. It's like, why hasn't he gone after Bullseye? He tried to kill Karen, and I was like, we're not trying to kill Karen, but Karen was involved in that attack. It's like, okay, I can see that. I do wonder if they'll explain that at all. If that's something that they'll dive into. Very similar to Daredevil and Fisk, I do wonder what he's been up to. There's a lot of missing pieces that we just don't know about yet. Will the special presentation cover that? I would actually be kind of okay if the presentation was like a prequel.
Oh, a prequel. Yeah, it's like an in between.
During the snap would be really cool. Like during those 5 years could be kind of sick.
Yeah.
Or if maybe it's right after. Oh, go ahead, Darth.
Do we think that because obviously the next 2 episodes are released together and it's because the Punisher's in them. Do you think it's going to be as cookie cutter as that Matt will get the Punisher's quote unquote go ahead or approval before whacking on the horns?
I mean, I think he kind of did this episode, right?
I think that was kind of the whole point.
He did and he didn't.
I think, but they both realized though that they
outright say it.
I think
he didn't.
I think they almost came to a mutual understanding, right? And they're gonna just meet out on the streets and be like, "Yeah, we're back." I did also think it was kind of funny too. I saw some memes about it of like Matt going to Frank's little hideout. It's like, oh, when you go visit that one friend you haven't seen in a while, and it's like him like sneaking around, like going down the elevator, that sort of thing.
I didn't even know he was there.
He's Daredevil. How did he know how do you know the bullet casing was in the sewer? Come on.
I think he's probably been keeping tracks on him. I think this is a situation that's
How did anybody know he was there? He was so well hidden.
He just followed who ordered the what was it in season 2? Lombardi's pizza.
I don't know.
Crazy.
It smelled like Frank.
My issue with the conversation that they had, right, is I don't know, it was kind of like the same conversation that he had with Fisk, right? It was unresolved, and it's unfinished, and he needs to go back to have the other half of it, in my opinion.
I think we will. I'm
we're gonna definitely get it.
I'm wondering how many more episodes Frank had, because I think originally we heard 2, but I'm wondering if it may be a couple more. I heard maybe he's in 11 and 12. Or, I'm sorry, 8 and 9. I wish we had 11, 12 episodes. 8 and 9. The final 2, which would be very, very interesting.
Yeah.
If that's
I would say if nothing else,
Seems-
I would expect to see him in the finale.
He
And-
seems very disinterested in stopping the people fighting in his name.
Not at all. He seemed fairly triggered by that, from what I could gather.
It looked like he knew about it and just waved it off in my opinion.
Yeah, it sounds like he knew about it, and he's like, oh yeah, these freaking posers, like, using my name, my symbol, my mission in a twisted manner.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just so curious where, like, headspace wise, where is Frank? And I haven't finished the 2nd season of Punisher yet. I should probably do that. But, like, where is he currently? Because it seems like he's still operating, but maybe he's not full on Punisher. Like, maybe he's just kind of hunted down people. He's not full on in the suit as Punisher at the moment. Like, where is he? Like what is his headspace? Maybe he's already going after these cops. It just, he's not telling Matt about it yet. He just kind of is like, yeah, no, like, this isn't your, whatever. But
This isn't your fight, Red.
I do think it's probably going to be Muse that brings them together, because that's something that I think both of these characters are going to be very interested in.
Muse is going to kill somebody. Ooh. Muse is going to kill somebody very high profile. What if
think so.
What if Muse
Oh,
kills? Either the therapist or Vanessa. I think one of the two are on the chopping block.
Therapist
You-
cast so it can't be her, unfortunately.
Or maybe like Muse like comes
be
in
next
on
season,
one of the so Muse comes in on one of the sessions, right? Like, imagine Muse like kills Vanessa, almost kills the therapist. So now we have a reason for Matt and Fisk to team up, because this dude just
This
came
could
in here
also
and wrecked house.
This could also further
interesting.
Fisk's vendetta against vigilantes. While I know he's not technically, arguably he is a vigilante. He's not a good one, right? But he's still
Right.
a vigilante. That could be how he gets to go ahead of, like, he broke into the mayor's office and killed my wife right in front of
I
me.
was gonna say, like, he could kidnap Fisk.
Oh, I'd be kind of okay with that.
Hmm.
It's interesting because I don't know his, like, MO yet, right? Like, all I know is he uses his victim's blood to paint, right? Like, I don't know why
Yeah,
he does
which
it,
is
and
Absolutely psychotic.
right.
Yeah.
Do we have any final thoughts here?
Dexter might approve of that. If
I-
they fit
I-
the code.
I have one final question to ask Taz, but do we have any
Okay.
kind of final thoughts on the episode?
Interesting that his paintings can't be very good because the human body is a very incredible palette, and
Sure.
if he's just sticking with the one color, I mean, it's got to be.
I mean, you
very-
gotta let it like dry in stages, and maybe he's adding some like dyes to
Yeah.
it and stuff. He can, maybe he can make some pinks or some,
Melt down, like, hair colors or whatever, and use,
Yeah.
I don't know, there's stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, here's what I want to ask Taz. We've got several bits of Matt and Frank just talking to each other.
Yes.
So what is your favorite scene between Matt and Frank? Would it be the rooftop scene? The, like, you have to give them a chance, Frank. They have to have a chance to change. There's that one. There's the, how do I say this without spoiling it? There's that talking scene. I can say this right before he turns
Yeah.
himself in at the end of season 2.
Yeah.
Is it the end of season 2 where he's like, you can't cross that line, Red. Once you cross that line, you can't go back.
Yeah.
Or is it the one this week?
Ooh.
All four.
I want to
think,
say either rooftop,
Yeah.
or I know it's not necessarily a conversation, but the courtroom scene
Courtroom's
where
really
he's
good,
defending
too.
him. I think it's one of those two, but
Sure.
I
I do it
I
again.
think they want to put me in the nut house. I think rooftop. I think rooftop for
Rooftop's
me.
good.
But this one is very close. I think the reason why this one has so much impact though is because of all of those previous scenes. I think
Sure.
Darth, I'm interested to see your perspective. Did it hit quite as hard without knowing the background of these two, without knowing their history?
Just because Charlie Cox is such a good actor, like the second
Yeah.
they started mentioning Foggy, I was like, oh shit.
Say his name. Say his name.
Like that started get me in the throat a little bit. I was like, oh man, this is some crazy shit. Um, I have to ask though, like given Frank's like motivations, like what do you think he meant when he was like you can't go back? Like does he meant like you can still do what you're doing, but you then have to lose the morals that you had and then kind of take on mine and just be out here just taking lives, or you have to give it up? Like what do you think he meant? Because as far as this conversation this week went, he crossed that line. He knew he crossed that line. He knows he still wants to keep crossing that line, but he's still telling him to carry on.
Yeah, I think it's the fact that he's dabbled in the darkness now, and that he's again kind of bringing it back full circle. He's one step closer to that bad day, and he had that bad day, and he could have become the Punisher right then and there. And I don't think there's a going back because he tried to cross that line. And I think that's kind of what Frank is telling him is like, you can become Daredevil again, but you're going to be a different Daredevil because you've gotten yourself to that point where you've teetered on the edge. Like you were hanging off that ledge. Bullseye hung off a little bit more, but
like, is this still like him trying to like make a baby Frank clone? Like is he telling him to pawn up again in the attempt like of him having that bad day? So he's like, all right, I've got a compatriot now.
I don't think so. I think eventually Frank came to the realization that there does need to be two sides to it. Like he's the one that puts people down, but like maybe there is room for somebody like Matt Murdock in the equation as well. And I think he eventually got to the point where, okay, maybe I don't necessarily want this guy to like throw out his morals just to be like me. Like maybe I've gone down a point of no return. What happens when what?
They go for the same guy.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we've never seen them fully work together before on like a full-on mission.
Right. Yeah, that is interesting. Is how do they decide how to take this person down? Yeah. Does Matt defer and is like, all right, hey, if you get to him first, you can take him out. But if I get to him first, we're gonna arrest him. Like, you know, I really don't know. That's a very interesting point to bring up.
Yeah, and I've been thinking back to that again, that like rooftop scene a lot this week. Oops, sorry. That rooftop scene a lot this week. I think it's such a good parallel to the season. That again, the whole thing is like, no, they have to have the chance to potentially change. Like, give them the chance to change, and that's such a good parallel to like obviously the Fisk that freaking the season. Where again, I said the first episode, those morals have been put to the test. They've been placed in front of Matt, and it's like, okay, Fisk is trying to change. He doesn't know he's not yet, but trying to change, right? So
yeah, and Matt gave him that chance right off the rip. He's like, all right, I'll let you do your thing, but if I find out that you're lying to me or you're going back in your old ways, I'm coming after you.
Yep, agreed. All right, last thing here I do want to ask, and then I will let you folks go. I can't wait for the double episodes tomorrow. And I think I've heard some theories on why this might be, but why do we think there's a double episode tomorrow?
I think massive cliffhanger at the end of the first of 2 episodes, and because it's going to be a big Matt and Punisher episode.
What do you think? Okay.
I think so. I think that this past week was the start of this little mini arc.
Okay.
In the middle of the season, and whether or not we see him come back in at the end of the season, I think we'll know by the end of these 2 episodes.
I might know just something that you guys might not know. I've heard, obviously, like, you know, people have seen this season early. They've talked about some stuff, and apparently this is easily the weakest episode of the season.
These 2 or just episode 5?
Apparently episode 5 is the weakest, and people have called it filler. So
they're dropping 2 episodes because they want
They don't want that
one
bad
that's
taste in
filler
their mouth.
and one
Yes.
to actually progress the plot.
That's
That
what
will
I've heard.
not be fun if that's the case.
Yeah, but
Because
honestly,
they haven't faulted yet.
that's not a bad technique though. Where if they know this is the weakest, they're like, man, people are gonna probably be bad talking, this episode. Let's leave them on a positive note. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah, I
episode
kind of like that.
Yeah.
I kind of like that.
But again, they haven't faulted yet, so the weakest of a best bunch is
Sure.
interesting.
Yeah.
Apparently,
Yeah.
people just don't like filler. So, like, if it's just because it's a filler episode, then I'm like, you know what? I kind of miss some filler episodes.
But again, sometimes people overemphasize the word filler, or they overuse the word filler, and just because it's not Matt in the suit for the whole episode, they're gonna say, "Oh, it's filler."
I'm curious,
even if we're really still, progressing the plot. I consider an episode a main story episode if there's even one scene, one element of it that progresses the whole plot. Like, even if the whole episode until the last 5 minutes is quote unquote filler, like it's a side story, like it's just like a random case that doesn't really have anything to do with what's going on. You just see a little bit of like Fisk doing mayor stuff in the background, and then in the last 5 minutes we get, Vanessa has some secret plot, or the Punisher is suiting up to like go out back on the streets and he's got like a new target or something like that. Like, even if that's in the last like 3 to 5 minutes of the episode, then it's not a filler episode at that point.
I'm very curious what it entails. Like, is it just like Matt doing another kind of like lawyer thing? I'm okay with that. I've heard some people theorize maybe they're going to fill in some of the gaps for the new fans, right? Which I've heard people be like, well, they're going to retell the origin. I'll be like, oh, I actually wouldn't hate that. I'm not completely against if they want to retell some of the stuff with his father, and
as long as it's not the classic like our hero gets knocked out for the episode. I don't know why that cliche started, but like all the Netflix shows are guilty of it.
Sure.
They are all guilty of it, and that's
some of them are really good though.
Some of them are very good. Some of them are very good.
That Punisher one the Daredevil one in season 2 is good, where he's like losing his hearing, and he's like, oh god, like that one's great.
Yeah, but it is a very big cliche, so maybe that's what we're gonna see. Maybe that's the filler episode.
That would not be filler though, Jonathan. If it was focused on Muse, that'd be like the main story.
Yeah, that would be 100% main plot.
Yeah, but that also goes to the thing I was saying. I was like, next episode's filler. There's 3 episodes after that, right? What is it? 6, 7, 8, or 4, right? Not enough time to do Muse, I don't think. I think I'm glad he's carried over.
I keep going back and forth. Is it 8 episodes or 9 episodes this season?
It's 9 this season. It's 9 this season, 8 next season.
It's like you said, where do they draw the line, right? Because they have quote unquote filler in the episodes with the street interactions.
Sure.
I mean, so like,
well, and again, at that point, I don't think that's
drawing the line.
I don't think that's filler by any means. I think that's very important. I think that's world building.
No, I get it, but I mean, it's helping like build like a third character as the city and stuff, but like it fully takes us out of everything. You might as well do like an establishing shot of a house with some music on top. Do you know what I mean? Like with coming out of the story to do that. So you could argue that it is fillery to build up a few minutes. Very well done. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I'm not slagging it off, but it is very fillery.
Sure.
Okay. I get you.
It is a storytelling device, but a fillery one.
Yeah.
Yep, for sure. But yeah, I think that's where we're gonna be wrapping up this week's episode. Thank you to Taz and Darth for being here.
Yes.
Starting with you as always, Taz. Where can people find you?
YouTube.com/ToxicTaz.
How about you, Darth?
Same again, just Darth Bunyan. He always does such a good job, and then it's just like, how do you follow that? Do you know what I mean? Just I'm not. He's just so much better at it.
Yeah, this was very fun. Join us next Monday for the finale of Reacher. Can it prove us wrong? Can it have a fantastic ending? We'll see. And double episodes of Daredevil Born Again. So that should be very fun.
Double Daredevil.
Those double
Triple
Ds?
D. Triple D's.
Pipeline this week should be Thursday. We'll be doing our Snow White episode. Let's hope no assholes are in the comments. That should be fun. And without further ado, I will see you guys on the flip side. Bye bye.